This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight in the north, where wildfires are once again closing in on communities. In Thompson, there's an active fire roughly 8 kilometers from the airport. Crews and water bombers are on site there. Now, Thompson is where many evacuees from Titasqueat Cree Nation still are. That community now under threat once again. This video was taken today by a firefighter who stayed behind. Winds picked up and shifted this afternoon, raising concerns yet again. Well, an evacuation order was lifted 2 weeks ago. People were unable to return because the water treatment plant had stopped working. Earlier today, the chief said work on the plant was completed and they were waiting for new testing results. But it's unclear when people may be able to go home. One firefighter tells CBC News at least 3 homes have now burned. Meantime, in Lynn Lake, people are once again being forced out of that town only 2 weeks after being allowed to return home. Nearly 600 people have been evacuated in the last few hours, this time heading to Brandon. The mayor says a new fire started by lightning 3 days ago. It's threatening to burn down hydro poles and cut power to the remote community. He says many didn't have a good experience last month when they spent 3 weeks in Thompson under evacuation order.
We, at that time, seen other communities being evacuated, airlifted straight to Winnipeg, going right into hotel rooms, while our citizens lived on cots, very little blankets, pillows, communal showers.
Now, the mayor says people could be out of the community for as long as a month. He was wrongfully convicted of murder and thrown in jail for years. His name tarnished. Now, despite being exonerated, Brian Anderson says he's still waiting to be compensated for the pain and suffering the whole ordeal caused.
It's been more than 50 years since he was convicted of a murder he didn't commit. Nearly 2 more since his name was cleared. And for the last 14 months, he's been waiting to be compensated for everything he lost since being put behind bars.
They were quick to convict, but when it's time to find it the other way around, it's dragging their feet right now.
Brian Anderson was one of 4 young men from Pinemutang First Nation convicted in the 1973 killing of Ting Fong Chan. But the trial was marred by systemic racism, a conviction based on a confession manufactured by police detectives. He and 2 others have been exonerated, while work is ongoing to clear a 4th man's name who died in 2011. Anderson's daughter says justice for them hasn't been served.
He still has to live with what all happened throughout his life, what he went through. It doesn't just disappear when someone's exonerated.
Having a criminal record made it difficult for Anderson to find work over the years, and he struggled. He's suing all 3 levels of government in hopes of being compensated for everything he lost. They've all denied fault.
I spent my life in jail for nothing I didn't do, so it's time they pay up for my losses.
Mediation is set to take place later this month, with trial dates set for 2027. But with Anderson now 70 years old, his daughter fears this will drag out.
I can't help but feel like they're waiting for these men to pass.
Yet another roadblock to getting his life back. Anderson lives with his 36-year-old daughter and longs to have his own place he can call home. While he's free from jail, his daughter says finally being compensated would give him real freedom.
But to also have that financial freedom to live the rest of his life how he wants to live it, because that was taken from him.
As for Anderson, he hopes to see the case dealt with so he can finally get on with his life, and soon.
A new 911 dispatch system is getting mixed reviews. The change was aimed at sending fire trucks and ambulances to the most serious emergencies faster. But as CBC's Josh Crabb reports, in some cases it may mean longer waits for less urgent medical calls.
A fire crew responds to a medical call on Spence Street. They check on a person and determine the individual is okay. The head of the Winnipeg Firefighters Union, Nick Casper, says it's part of an alarming trend.
Our call volume has skyrocketed.
The Winnipeg Fire Paramedic Service wants crews available for the most serious emergencies.
Okay, so I'm sending the paramedics to help you now. Stay on the line, I'll tell you exactly what to do next.
That's why it launched a new 5-priority dispatch system April 23rd. 911 calls are triaged based on different levels, with both firefighters and paramedics going to priority 1 calls with lights and sirens. The lower the priority, the less urgent the response.
It makes sense for our system. It actually makes more sense for the patients too.
It's only been 2 months, but Deputy Chief of Paramedic Operations Ryan Sneath says it's helping ambulances get to the most critical calls faster.
So that time has improved by about 2 minutes on average.
Prior to the change, Sneath says ambulances were responding to life-threatening calls in an average of about 16 minutes 90% of the time. That number is down to 14 minutes under the new system.
Our goal is to see improvements in that.
Trucks with a firefighter paramedic are often first to respond within the national standard of 9 minutes. Sneath says that remains unchanged under the new system. He acknowledges in some cases, people with less urgent medical needs may have to wait longer for an ambulance. That's a concern for Paramedics of Winnipeg President Ryan Woyden.
If your call is not a high priority, you will wait in a virtual queue, essentially, a virtual waiting room. And we will get to you when we have an ambulance to get to you.
Woyden says Winnipeg would benefit from more community paramedics in SUVs. There are 7 assigned to a variety of roles across the city. Some are helping with the response to less urgent 911 calls. The Winnipeg Fire Paramedic Service says it will review the new dispatch system after 6 months to determine where improvements can be made. Josh Crabb, CBC News, Winnipeg.
A man has been charged in connection to 5 sexual assaults in and around Winnipeg's Health Sciences Centre. The incidents have Manitoba's Nurses Union sounding the alarm on safety concerns. The CBC's Alana Cole reports.
A teenage girl walking near Elgin Avenue and Sherbrooke Street. A Health Sciences Centre staff member walking in the hospital tunnels. Just 2 of the 5 people Winnipeg police say were sexually assaulted in and around HSC early Wednesday night. Police say the incidents happened in the span of about an hour, 4 of them near the hospital.
The women and the teen, they were all on their own, but basically in broad daylight, other than the one situation that occurred inside the tunnel system in the health science campus.
Winnipeg police arrested a 28-year-old man Thursday, and he's charged with multiple offenses, including sexual assault and sexual interference. Constable Danny McKinnon says 3 of the adult women were hospital staff. The head of Manitoba's Nurses Union says 2 of them are nurses. She's heard concerns from another nurse that staff weren't notified right away.
One of them had worked a night shift and said, like, I was here all night, and not once did we hear from the employer that anything was going on, and any one of us could have utilized the tunnels for any reason, not knowing what happened and not knowing whether the perpetrator was still in the tunnels.
In a statement, Manitoba's health minister says their office will work with Shared Health and HSC to review these incidents and identify opportunities to better protect staff and visitors.
The minister says the province has made investments to improve safety and security, including weapons scanners and safety officers. Jackson says more is needed.
Every time we talk about safety we hear from government about the amount of money spent on safety. But clearly the amount of money spent or where it's been spent is not solving the problem.
Jackson says it's time to look at other ways to make the buildings safer. Alana Cole, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Let's bring in weather specialist Riley Lachuk now. Riley, another scorcher out there today. Hopefully people getting enough water.
Yeah, exactly. One of those times where you really want to make sure you're staying hydrated. As we get into the evening, we'll start to see temperatures dropping off a little bit. And in fact, into the overnight hours, temperatures half this as we get into the early morning hours on Saturday. Officially just over 32 degrees in Winnipeg this afternoon, feeling closer to 40 with the humidity once again. 30s really right across southern Manitoba, 27 in Melita, where we have seen some thunderstorm activity. Temperatures slightly cooler into northwestern Ontario, 24 degrees in Dryden. So air quality statements still remaining in a large part of northern Manitoba where we're seeing some of those fires burning. Winnipeg still under a heat warning, also a severe thunderstorm watch and severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado watches down into northwestern Ontario. All the result of some of this instability working its way up from the United States. This briefly sparking a tornado warning east of Fort Francis earlier, and some reports of baseball-sized hail south of the border. We'll talk about your weekend forecast when I come back.
Thank you, Riley.
Welcome.
He's home. The Winnipeg Jets welcome a hometown hero to the team as Jonathan Toews makes his NHL comeback. More on that straight ahead. Well, he's Winnipeg born, Winnipeg raised, and now he's a Winnipeg Jet. Jonathan Toews got a hero's welcome today as he joins his hometown team. But amidst all the celebration, some notable change has also swept through the roster this week. CBC's Gavin Axelrod has more.
A welcome fit for a hometown hero. Jonathan Toews putting on a Winnipeg Jets jersey for the first time as a member of the team.
It's just surreal to be sitting here right now putting this jersey on. This is another moment that kind of brings me back to, like, it's that new feeling like you're getting drafted again, you're young kids.
The three-time Stanley Cup winner hasn't played in the NHL since 2023. He suffered from symptoms of long COVID and chronic inflammatory response syndrome. Part of his treatment included going to India for traditional therapy that uses massage, herbs, and diet to cleanse the body.
As soon as I started following that diet and some of the different like herbs and tinctures and just supplements that kind of complement the diet, things started changing really fast. And so I knew right away that there was something to it.
This researcher who studies long COVID says Toews' comeback can provide hope to others.
We need to figure out what people are doing in terms of the people who have recovered, what they did that helped them on their recovery.
Meanwhile, Toews says he's looking forward to getting back into life in the NHL.
I know at this point it's all going to fall into place and just try and go out there and execute and play my game right from the start of the, training camp.
While Toews is in, a longtime Jet is out. Forward Nikolai Ehlers signed with the Carolina Hurricanes Thursday, leaving Winnipeg after 10 seasons with the team that drafted him.
Nick phoned me yesterday, almost in tears. He just felt the biggest thing for him is just he needed to change the scenery. And that wasn't based on the city, the hockey team, anything like that.
He'll have to put it all in his own words. I certainly don't want to, speak for him in any way, shape, or form. I know on our side it was never about money or term or anything like that.
Ehlers is slated to make $51 million over 6 years in Carolina. Gavin Axelrod, CBC News, Winnipeg.
The Premier is defending one of his ministers after she was recorded complaining about an ASL interpreter at an event. Wab Kinew says the accessibility minister is staying put. CBC's Bartley Kivas has more.
Premier Wab Kinew says Nahanni Fontaine can remain in a role of accessibility minister after she got caught on a hot mic by APTN complaining about sharing a stage with a sign language interpreter. Fontaine has since apologized twice and has met with members of the deaf community. Kinew says Fontaine is staying put.
I think our minister has apologized and is putting in the work with the community. So it's with the greatest of humility that I want to ask folks in the deaf community to keep working with her.
Not everyone in the deaf community is satisfied, and the official opposition says Fontaine should be held more accountable.
She clearly does not understand her role as accessibility minister, does not respect the deaf community. I believe that would be a fireable offense, and the Premier should stand up for all Manitobans.
Some in the deaf community are accepting Fontaine's apologies. In a statement, the Manitoba Deaf Association said it will continue to advise the minister. Bartley Kivas, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Riley, back in now. Off the top of the show, we were talking about those wildfires that are really flaring back up in many parts of the north again, threatening some of those communities. Wind, really a big concern.
Yeah, that's what's really caused this flare-up. Not so much the heat. Yes, that did play a factor in this, but it has been very strong winds we've seen in northern Manitoba today, and that will continue as we get into the night. But a bit of relief coming as we get into the day on Saturday. So I'll start with the wind as we get through the weekend here. So winds today gusting anywhere from 50 up to 60 kilometers an hour in some cases. You can see some of these darker purples, even into some of these blue colors. These are very strong wind gusts, over 60 kilometers an hour, and that continues across northern Manitoba as we get through the night tonight. Still seeing some very strong gusts through the overnight hours, but as we get into the day on Saturday, we will start to see those winds backing off, more like 15 gusting 30 for places around Lynn Lake. Still out of the northwest, though, through Thompson and along the Hudson Bay coast. So winds do start to die off. Yes, a very windy day today. That is because of this area of low pressure that is sitting over northern Manitoba right now. Although not a lot of rain coming out of this, it has really kicked up the winds a lot, and you can start to see the beginnings of a cold front that that has started to push across the Prairie provinces, and this is going to do a couple of things. The potential for some thunderstorms as we get through into the day on Saturday, but will also really significantly pull back our temperatures. So looking at temperatures right now, for example, 31 degrees in Winnipeg, 30 in Morden, where that cold front has already pushed through, 16 in Lynn Lake right now, 14 into Dooley Lake. So that's the difference in temperature that we're looking at as we get through the next couple of days here. As this swings through, the potential for some thunderstorms as we get through the evening hours across southern Manitoba. Then we get a bit of clearing, still some gusty winds and a bit of cloud cover into northern Manitoba. Unfortunately, not a lot of moisture out of some of this, not as really anything at all, if that. Maybe along the Hudson Bay coast, you pick up a few showers, but that's about it. Behind that, we do get a bit of clearing into southern Manitoba, so I think even by the time we get to the afternoon here in Winnipeg, we're looking at a mainly sunny sky tomorrow afternoon. But I'm calling it a mix of sun and clouds just because we'll have some cloud cover still hanging around as we get through the morning hours, at least as the cold front really works its way through. Into Sunday, mainly sunny skies. Once again, a bit of cloud cover in the west. A weak disturbance wants to give us maybe a couple of showers into places like Melita, Deloraine, Boissevain. That's about it. And then we're back into a mix of sun and clouds. I think this particular forecast model overdoing the cloud cover a bit on Sunday, but we are looking at a mix of sun and clouds and temperatures closer to seasonal as we get through the weekend. So 25 degrees in Winnipeg for Saturday, looking at very seasonal conditions across the south. Thompson at 21 degrees, into Sunday, 24 degrees, a mix of sun and clouds. And Brittany, we have another chance of seeing some thunderstorms as we get into the day on Monday. Your 7-day is coming up.
Okay, thank you, Riley.
You're welcome.
Indigenous tourism in Manitoba is growing. In the last 3 years, the amount of operators in the province has more than doubled. Now there's a new Indigenous tourism centre at the Forks, focused on bringing awareness to experiences available across Manitoba. CBC's Felicia Adam has more.
A space of discovery, celebrating culture, heritage, and storytelling. Explore Indigenous will let people learn and take part in Indigenous-led tourism experiences.
Those businesses support economic development in their communities. They help create jobs. They help support their families.
The space is also home to Turtle Tours. It provides culinary experiences and walking tours of the city.
We want people that join Turtle Tours to walk with us, learn the land, and carry the stories. It means that they immerse themselves and come here with an open heart, ready to learn and listen from Indigenous people and people that have passed down oral traditions that you won't find in the textbooks.
This is more than just a new attraction.
Manitoba's Tourism and Heritage Minister Nellie Kennedy says Indigenous tourism is vital to economic reconciliation.
It's important in the sense that we support Indigenous communities and tourism operators. It's something I think that's authentic.
The space will be open Friday to Sunday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., ready to welcome people in, to share in the stories that honor the culture and history of Manitoba. Felicia Adam, CBC News, Winnipeg.
The Manitoba First Nation is expanding the new area that will not only allow more traditional uses, but add economic development opportunities. Plus, Riley is back with your last check on weather. Stay with us. A First Nation is creating a new reserve right outside Winnipeg. Broken Head Ojibwe Nation says its 60-acre reserve is found in the RM of East St. Paul. Chief Gordon Bluesky expects it will create opportunities for his community after negotiations with the federal government took years.
It's ridiculous that these things take 20 years. It is totally ridiculous. I don't understand it and I'll never get it, but I got to keep moving. We got to keep teaching our young people on how to do this, on how to get these types of things open for reality for our nations.
Broken Head is looking at various uses for the land, ranging from residential to commercial to recreational.
Risk of thunderstorms persisting as we get into the overnight hours. We've seen some of that into northwestern Ontario, where you could see some very, very high rainfall amounts, some hail and some strong winds. Some of that even starting to bubble up on the Manitoba side of the border as well, with this particular cell just popping up in the last half hour or so near Manitou. So keep that in mind. Could get some thunderstorms as we roll into the evening hours here. Wendy and Bill, Feline Friday. I know you guys have been waiting a while for this one. You can send your pets to talkback at cbc.ca. Very cute. 25 degrees in the afternoon, closer to seasonal. North winds, though, 20 gusting to 40. And what that could do is kick up a little bit of haze as we get through the afternoon hours, bringing some of that smoke from northern Manitoba down into the south here. So more of a seasonal weekend, mix of sun and clouds Saturday into Sunday, and then you'll notice we're right back into the 30s by the time we get to the middle of next week. Well, if you love hot dogs, this next story might make you feel a little bit hungry.
Or it just might suppress your appetite for a little while. The 4th of July Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest in Coney Island, New York is our daily lift. Oh my, this year saw the return of 16-time champion Joey Chestnut. He was banned from participating last year due to competing sponsorship with a plant-based company. Chestnut returned to his winning form, gulping down 70.5 hot dogs and buns in 10 minutes.
The defending champion came in a distant second with 46.5 hot dogs. For the women, reigning champion Miki Sudo earned her 11th win, scarfing down 33 hot dogs. Kind of makes me want to maybe visit the hot dog cart.
I don't know.
But also, maybe not.
33 is 33 too many for me.
3 is like my max.
Might be a good weekend to take a hot dog.
Exactly.
Have a wonderful one. We'll see you Monday.
See ya.